You are listening to Freedom Words, and I am here with Antony Sammeroff, enrichyourlife.co. Mostly what I focus on in my channel is self-knowledge and self-therapy. I put a little bit in of philosophy, and I put maybe just a little sprinkle of current events, but I really try to stay kind of focused on self-knowledge and self-therapy. I was wondering if you had any kind of practical advice or practical tips. I've been getting some emails from viewers wanting just some practical advice on self-knowledge, where to start, what to examine, and what kind of resources are out there to bring together in an effort to get to know oneself better. So do you have any sort of advice or any insights that you'd like to provide there?
Thank you for asking. I just want to say that you're focusing on the right stuff, Stephen, because that is key. Every inch of work you do on yourself translates to miles and miles in how well you can help other people. And if it weren't for my own practice of trying to know myself better and understand what hand I have in creating my own life, I wouldn't be able to offer what I can to others now. So I really owe it to the study of self-knowledge. Socrates said, know thyself, and that's probably the best advice that's come out of philosophy in 2,500 years.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is a treasure chest. But when people look in the inner environment, it doesn't look like a garden, and usually that's because it's not a garden anymore. It's not been tended, it's overgrown with thorns, and the mirror looking inside, we were talking about people communicating to avoid discomfort before. The mirror looking inside can be painful, but if you take the time to understand yourself, you can start to weed the garden, cut down those thorns, get rid of the creepers that are growing up everywhere, and start really tending that soil. And, in a couple of springs, when you look inside, you do have a garden, and you keep on discovering more and more treasures in your treasure chest, which is interesting to you and helpful to others. You also have the ability to see deeper into other people, and as you recognize things you discovered within yourself, men are comparable things, and that's digging into other people's treasure chest. That was a convoluted way to introduce my answer to your question. The one word of advice I can give people, above all, is don't be unknown to yourself. And what I mean by that is you may have an emotion or a belief or a thought that comes up and up again, and you have become dead to noticing it. So whenever you have anger or something like that, if you've been taught not that those are negative emotions, you push it away instantly and you don't even know that you're angry. So it's always better to know than to be ignorant. The need to suppress creates denial and projection and the other psychodynamic defense mechanisms. So that makes you unknown to yourself. And the cure to that is make nothing illegal in your thinking and in your feeling. You don't have to act on an unpleasant emotion. You just need to not be against it and treat it with curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
An unpleasant emotion can be invited to sit with you, particularly if you take some time to meditate. Whatever comes up, just allow it to be like a friend that sits with you and treat it with curiosity. Why am I angry about that? Why am I not getting out of the situation? I'd like to be guessing. And take your time to be with your emotions so that you cultivate a habit of not being unknown to yourself. And it's going to take lots of time. If you ever have challenges to your beliefs that make you feel uncomfortable, you're going to want to take some time out when you get the chance and get into a safe environment and do a bit of a self-heist, as I call it. And if you look on my website, you'll see that under the services tab, there's one service I offer called Going Past the Pain, which is very much about this kind of thing. Because when you sit down and challenge some beliefs that are rigid, emotional reasons, then a lot of the time you get what I call alarm systems going off. So suddenly you have a great fearfulness or a great shame, or you feel guilty or something like that, anxious, frustrated. And what I would do with a client, if I was working with them through this, would be to just say, that's an alarm system that's going off. That's something that's been put in there at some point. It's like a restricted area within your consciousness. So you've been trained by some circumstance to have an adverse reaction to looking at this emotion or looking at this belief. And just to be aware of the fact that it's what we call in psychology transference, something from the past which has been carried with you into the future. And when I'm doing this myself, because the idea of this is to be with the emotion, not just the thought. Challenging that belief might set off triggers inside you, and the idea is a safe environment to be with those triggers and let your mind behave as you would when you were comforting a child. Just say, that's okay, it's just an alarm. Go, just stick with it, go at your own pace. There's no need to push yourself to go here if you're not ready to go here. Just gradually, when you're ready, let's look at the next. Okay, what emotion comes up in that? Deal with that feeling. So that's been a practice that I've been developing over the last couple of years. And for more, check out my website. There will be a book that I'm writing on this topic.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your insights there, Antony. I do believe I'm running out of time, but I very much appreciate this conversation. On my channel, Freedom Words, you can find it on YouTube. And if you'd like to sign off with any further insights you have, anything that you'd like to share additionally, like to give some word to, and give everybody your details as to where they can find you one more time.
Thank you very much for having me on your show, Stephen. The one last thing I would like to share is to say, if there's one thing I think that can really, really improve people's lives, my life, your life, everyone listening's life, it is at least learning in theory the best ways that you can learn to communicate. You don't have to speak that way all the time. You don't have to think that way all the time. But if you learn how good communication can be, you've got the opportunity to get more out of your relationship with others because you know how to communicate with them better, and get more out of your relationship with yourself, which is where the tree of our life goes. And, at the end, each branch, there's someone we connect with, someone we communicate with. So learning how to communicate well is a great doorway to improving both the inner environment and the outer environment. If you'd like to learn more, please check out my website, www.enrichyourlife.co, and I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to send me an email. In addition to that, I've got the Progressive Parent YouTube channel, and that I just put out from the heart to see if I could offer some useful information to help parents do a better job and to help kids learn a better life. They do concern improving relationship skills, improving communication skills as a view to dealing with children better. A lot of those approaches can be applied to our adult relationships. So if you want to check some of those videos out, please head on over there. Thanks again, Stephen. I really appreciate you interviewing me, and I hope people get something out of this conversation.
Beautiful, yeah, and thank you for your brilliant insights, and I like your metaphors. I love the metaphors you use for self-knowledge. Have a great day.
You too.